Hello and welcome to Intelligent Pod, the podcast that dives deep into the science and art of human intelligence, hosted by me, Sophie Lane. Whether you're a new listener or a longtime subscriber, I'm so glad you're joining me today. On this episode, we're exploring a topic that's as paradoxical as it is powerful: the role of silence in communication and thought. Now, at first glance, silence might sound like the opposite of communication. After all, we're used to thinking of communication as words, speech, chat, even emojis. But if you've ever sat in a meeting, a classroom, or across the dinner table with someone, you'll know that sometimes what isn't said speaks volumes. Today, we're going to unpack why silence is not just the absence of noise, but a vital, nuanced part of how we connect with others, and even with ourselves. We'll look at this from psychological, scientific, and cultural perspectives, and I'll share a fascinating academic study along with a real-life story that might just change how you think about those quiet moments. At the end, I'll offer some actionable ways you can harness the power of silence in your daily life. So, let's settle in and get started. Let's begin by making this personal. Think about the last time you were in a conversation and there was a pause, a moment when neither person spoke. Did you feel awkward? Did you rush to fill the space with words? Or did it feel comfortable? Maybe even necessary? In our hyper-connected, always-on world, silence can feel uncomfortable, even threatening. Did you know that according to a study by Microsoft, the average human attention span is now just 8 seconds, shorter than a goldfish? We're inundated with notifications, podcasts, yes, even this one, video calls, and background noise. It's no wonder that silence feels like a rare commodity. But here's the thing: silence isn't empty. In fact, it's packed with meaning. In communication, silence can signal everything from respect and reflection to disagreement or even tension. And when it comes to our own thoughts, silence gives our brains space to process, to imagine, and to recharge. Let's break this down from a few different angles. First, the psychological perspective. Psychologists have long studied how silence shapes our mental processes and our relationships. In conversations, silence can be a tool for active listening. When we pause and hold space for someone else to speak, we're showing that we value their words, that we're willing to listen rather than just waiting for our turn to talk. There's a concept called the pregnant pause, the deliberate moment of silence that adds weight to what's being said. Think about a powerful speech, or even a moment in a movie, when a character stops talking and just lets the silence hang. It draws you in, doesn't it? That's not accidental. It's a psychological device that signals importance, emotion, or even vulnerability. Now, let's look at the scientific side. Neuroscience tells us that our brains need downtime. A study published in the journal Brain Structure and Function found that 2 hours of silence per day led to the development of new cells in the hippocampus, the region of the brain associated with memory and learning. That's pretty remarkable. Silence isn't just soothing. It's literally helping your brain grow. And get this, the default mode network, or DMN, is a network of interacting brain regions that's active when we're not focused on the outside world. It's when your mind wanders, daydreams, and reflects. Silence gives the DMN a chance to do its work, leading to greater creativity and problem solving. So, next time you're stuck on a problem, try sitting in silence for a few minutes. Your brain will thank you. From a cultural perspective, silence takes on different meanings around the globe. In Japan, silence is often seen as a sign of respect and wisdom. The Japanese phrase, ishin denshin, literally means what the mind thinks, the heart transmits. The idea that understanding can happen without words. In contrast, in some Western cultures, silence can be viewed as awkward or even suspicious. Think of the phrase, silent treatment. There's a beautiful story from Finland, which, by the way, is routinely ranked as one of the world's happiest countries, about the value of silence. The Finns have a saying, speech is silver, silence is gold. In Finnish culture, comfortable silence is a sign of trust and connection. You don't have to fill every moment with chatter to be close to someone. Now, Let me share an academic study that really brings this home. In 2014, researchers at the University of Groningen in the Netherlands explored how silence influences negotiations. They found that negotiators who used deliberate pauses, moments of silence, were more likely to reach mutually beneficial agreements. Why? Because silence allows time for reflection and reduces the likelihood of emotional, knee-jerk responses. It creates a space where people can think, rather than just react. And here's a real-life anecdote. A friend of mine, let's call her Maria, once told me about a job interview she had for a role she really wanted. The interviewer asked her a tough question, and instead of rushing to answer, Maria paused. She took a breath, thought for a few seconds, and then gave a thoughtful response. Later, the interviewer told her that it was her willingness to embrace that moment of silence that impressed them most. It showed confidence and self-awareness. So, what can we learn from all this? How can we use silence as a tool in our daily lives? First, in conversations, try to become comfortable with pauses. If someone is speaking, resist the urge to jump in the moment they stop. Give them a beat. You might be surprised at what comes next. Often, people will share something deeper or more honest. Second, practice active silence. This means being present and attentive, even when you're not speaking. Make eye contact, nod, and show you're engaged without filling the space with words. This builds trust and rapport. Third, schedule moments of silence into your day. Maybe it's a few minutes in the morning before you check your phone, or a quiet walk at lunch. Use this time to let your mind wander, reflect, or just be. Remember that study I mentioned. Your brain needs this time to grow and recharge. Fourth, if you're faced with a difficult decision or a stressful moment, give yourself permission to pause. Don't feel pressured to respond immediately. Silence gives you space to consider your options and respond thoughtfully. And finally, notice how you feel about silence. Is it uncomfortable? Why? Sometimes, our discomfort with silence is really about our discomfort with ourselves. When you sit in silence, you come face to face with your own thoughts and feelings. That can be challenging, but it's also where growth happens. Let's take a moment to recap what we've explored today. Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's a powerful form of communication and a gift to our minds. Psychologically, silence fosters deeper listening and connection. Scientifically, it helps our brains recharge and grow. Culturally, it means different things to different people. But across the world, those who embrace silence often find greater clarity and peace. As you go about your week, I encourage you to experiment with silence. The next time you're in a conversation, try holding back for a moment before you speak. When you have a few spare minutes, resist the urge to fill them with music, podcasts, or scrolling. Just let yourself sit in quiet. Notice how it feels and what you learn about yourself and others. I'd love to hear how it goes. If you have thoughts, stories, or questions about today's episode, I'd love to connect. Drop me an email at sophie@intelligentpod.com. You can also visit intelligentpod.com for full show notes, links to the studies I mentioned, and more resources on the role of silence in communication and thought. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a review. It helps others discover the show and join our community of curious, thoughtful listeners. Thank you for spending this time with me and with silence. Until next time, I'm Sophie Lane, and this is Intelligent Pod. Remember, sometimes the most intelligent thing you can say is nothing at all. Take care.